Hello, welcome back. We're going to put our focus today on the fact and the often quoted passage from A Course in Miracles, ideas leave not their source. All right. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker. In other words, this idea has been called by some the central idea of A Course in Miracles. It certainly is at the core, isn't it? If you're new to this and you're wondering, well, I don't know that that's the case. Well, ideally, over the next 15 to 20 or however many minutes this conversation lasts, you'll gain some valuable insight and ideally some inspiration to put these teachings into practice, which, as we can all see in life, is how we learn the best. It's not from listening to a talking head. It's not. It's putting them into practice in our daily life. Our experience does something extraordinarily powerful at that point and shows us, proves to us, demonstrates to us that the ideas that we're learning here are true. Ideas leave not their source, thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker. We cannot eject our own painful or bitter or vindictive judgmental thoughts. We try to get them out and away from us by projecting them. This is projection. We blame somebody else for our internal plight and we lash out. It's his fault. It's her fault, don't you know? It's the government's fault. Yeah, it's my boss's fault. It's my ex's fault. It's my organization's fault. It's a giant systemic failure, right? And we tell ourselves all of this. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker, whose mind is impacted by your judgment. Yours. We can't put our judgmental thoughts out onto someone else. It only impacts us. Now, similarly, when you forgive, who are you forgiving? I mean, it looks like you're forgiving someone else or the government or the weather or your dog, your aunt, your uncle, your brother. Looks like you're forgiving someone else. You're not. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker. Who are you forgiving? Yourself. That applies for our judgmental thoughts and for our loving thoughts. Of the two, only one is real, and you know which one that is. In fact, this is why A Course in Miracles insists quite clearly that in this world, the only things that can even be said, that can even be said to be real, are our loving thoughts. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker. Ideas leave not their source. So here's something. We're going to capitalize the S on source for the purposes of this discussion today, and I invite you to do that every day. You are the thought of God, not bodies. God doesn't do form. The Course is also very famous for saying God knows not form. So did he make this world? No. Did he set us up to suffer and continually bash our collective heads against a wall and bleed and then think that the next wall is going to lead to a different outcome? Did he do that to us, setting us up for such systemic failure? Certainly not. God knows not form. He doesn't do bodies. Happily, you're not a body. You're the thought of God. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker. Remember, ideas leave not their source. Ideas leave not their source. We're the thought of God, the creation of God, the Son of God, singular, by the way, and not simply referring to Jesus, but all of us. We're the thought of God. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker. Where are you really? Ideas leave not their source. Capital S. All right. All right then. You have always known. So welcome to A Course in Miracles. You're where you need to be. However long the road has appeared to be, and whatever you appear to be looking at right now in life, you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and you're almost there. So I invite you to keep going. The roads of this world don't lead anywhere. I mean, yeah, they can lead to the next town or the next city or maybe the next country. We hop a train and we appear to be somewhere else. But all of the roads of this world, all of its pathways lead to confusion and despair. Is what we're really looking for. The peace of God can't be found in the world. There is no world. We're perfectly at home in the mind of God, where we've always been. God knows not form. This round, wobbling, spinning ball of rock is a form. God doesn't do form, not even, doesn't recognize it. And let us all be very, very joyfully grateful and glad about that. Whatever it is you happen to be going through today, let's be glad that this is true. So here's another way of looking at ideas leave not their source. God hasn't left his thoughts. If thoughts can't leave the mind of the thinker, God can't leave his thoughts. He can't cast us off onto a desert island or a garden with a fence around it and a big apple tree or fruit tree or mango. I always picture the Garden of Eden as more of a tropical fruit. Maybe it's just me, right? But he didn't cast us out of any place. He doesn't do form at all. At all. And let's all be really glad. Truth is formless. It's beyond all of our concepts, including language. All we can do, all this video can do, all any video or dialogue or spiritual teacher can do is point. It's what we do, point to truth. There's nothing else that we can do. But that's it. The answers are not to be found in the world that arose falsely in our mind to hide all of our problems. And I invite you to take a look at the last video that was released here on this channel for a more in-depth discussion of that. God hasn't left his thoughts. He has not left us. He has not abandoned us. It's impossible. We're in his mind. We're in him. He can't abandon us. Think about that. I mean, do think about that for a moment. He has not left his thoughts. He hasn't left us to get sick and old and die and bang our heads against the wall over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Didn't work. Great. Can't find the peace of God when you're bleeding or dead. Oh, next wall. Yeah, let's see if this shiny new wall with a new coat of paint is going to be any different. Should be a little softer, right? Wrong. And it's not flattering to look at it that way, but that's what we do. Doesn't have to be flattering. In fact, it shouldn't be. The purposes of this aren't to flatter the ego. It's to set it aside. So let's all think about that as well. We're perfectly at home in God, who has not left his thoughts to go forth and suffer. We can choose to see things differently. Enter A Course in Miracles. Enter the study and practice, especially the practice of this course, living it. We don't see things as they are. Let us learn to see them as they really are. Because you know where you are now, and you will never be able to unlearn it. You're welcome. It's very profound. You deserve nothing less. I invite you not to settle for anything less. Doesn't mean that you can't go forth and do whatever it is you want to do in life or your spiritual practice, because quite obviously, not all of us are doing A Course in Miracles, right? But you are. And the interesting thing about this is the Course does not posit itself as superior to or inferior to other spiritual traditions or other modern modalities or, tropical retreats. Bliss out in Costa Rica, eat some tasty food under the palm tree. Well, sounds kind of nice, huh? This Course is not superior to or inferior to any other tradition. It teaches that separation itself is an illusion. There is no hierarchy of differences at all. That's an illusion. You can't have superior to or inferior than, right? You can't have those better or worse distinctions in reality because there's no separation of any kind. And even that terminology implies a separation. There is no separation of any kind. Ideas leave not their source. You're one with God. You knew that too. I know you did. We all did, deep down. Could have been put in many different words or not into words at all, but you know that's true. You wouldn't be here otherwise. So I invite you to keep going. You're closer than you think, aren't you? Hmm. And thank you for joining me. Please subscribe if you have not. The prompt is here. That's the button that you see over here in the corner of your screen. So when you click that, you'll be invited to join us. Please go ahead and do that. You deserve nothing less than the uncompromising course itself, what it says, what it means. No, that's what you get here. And thank you to those of you who have been with us for a while. These videos have been going on for, gosh, I guess 4.5 years now. It's a long time. There's a lot of content out there. So, in the midst of all of that, should you have questions, I really do sincerely mean that you're welcome to ask any questions here. This is a perfectly safe space in order for you to do just that, because spirituality, especially when you're looking at questioning the very foundations of everything you now believe, which we're of course invited to do in this course, you know, questions are going to arise. And that is so normal. That is perfectly normal. So please feel welcome to ask questions here. And I get that you may be worried to ask in a public forum like this worldwide public forum because we often think, okay, my question's too basic. It's a dumb question, we tell ourselves. Well, actually, of course, there's no such thing as a dumb question. I mean, we don't know what we don't know, right? And the thing about it is there are people all over the world, we just said this is international, that you'll never most likely meet in person that will benefit from your asking a question. Even if it seems really basic, that's the question I really want to have people ask. I want you to ask that question. If you think, oh, I should know this, ask. I invite you to do that because there are people on the other side of this wobbling, spinning ball of rock that want to know the same thing. And even if you are very new to this material and you're wondering about all of this, there are people that have been practicing this for 25 or 30 years that will benefit from the question that you asked. When it's answered here in this forum, whatever that looks like, I often record answers to your questions, and I'm happy to do this at any point in time. So please, please ask. It's worth it. All right. So I thank you very much for joining me again. Subscribe if you have not, and I will talk to you very soon.